On today's Whiskermen's podcast, Beards in Business, in the Beards section, learn how to use a beard balm. And over in the business section, we interview Jordan Bell from Agency Bell.
All right, guys, welcome to another edition of Beards in Business. This is the beard section of the show, and today we're going to be talking about balms. So one of the first things I want to point out is not all companies refer to balms in the sense that they are truly made. Some folks will call their butters that we covered in previous show a balm. I don't know why companies do this, but it is something that seems to be common. So the big difference, and we've talked about this on previous shows, is we'll walk through the full steps. A wash cleans, keeps the oils on your face without sucking all those great nutrients out. Oil hydrates your pores, strengthens growth currently have, promotes new growth. Butter softens and conditions your beard. Then getting into the balm. The balm is similar to that of a mousse that you would use in your hair. Gives you some styling properties, a little bit of hold, but not long lasting, versus a wax. A wax will give you that long, firm hold that will keep it similar to that of a hairspray. So that is the first and key thing I want to point out. So when to use, when not to use, is really up to you. I'm going to show you a quick video of how I introduce it, and then we'll break that down.
All right, guys, so we've got our beard, we brushed, we combed, we did our straightener, we've got everything, we got our oils, butters. Today we're going to talk about balms. So looking at the balms, we're going to take the beard balm, and we're going to open it up. And inside the beard balm, I've been using this one, but you can see we've got a solid, consistent product in there. So we're going to need to give it a little bit of pressure to get it out. Once we get that out, I'm going to put this off to the side. We're going to take it just like everything else. It's going to go in the palm of our hand. We're going to rub our hands together like so. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to slightly go in the beard, nice and loose. This is more for the hairs. We're not so worried about the face at this point. This is great for keeping those flyaways down if you're for whatever you're doing. I like to come in nice and tight, try to get it all bunched up because I know it's gonna, as soon as I let go, it's gonna loosen up, but it keeps that firmness a little bit. So from here, we're just gonna go through. Now, depending on what look you're going for, if you're happy with the way things look now, you can just call it a day. I personally, after I have it in, I like to make sure that I've got it nice and dispersed. I will go back to my brush and just give a quick brush just to disperse it all around. Or you can hit it with a comb, same thing, just to get it however you want. So this will kind of lay it down. We'll get into more as I turn it back over to the podcast.
All right, welcome back from that video. As you can see with the balm, a little bit goes a long way. So when you're putting it on, it's more for some of those flyaways. So you've got those little hairs, as you can see, you get a few here, and you're never going to get it truly perfect unless you're spending hours and hours. That's why I keep my beard the way it is. I want it to be I want it to look nice and groomed, but I also want it to be something that's achievable by the everyday man and doesn't spend lots of time getting it that way. So when you put the balm in, basically all you're looking to do, and the more you use, the more you'll be able to do this, is to kind of lay down those scraggly little hairs. So again, it gives you that mousse property. So you're able to put them down, maybe keep the cheek line a little bit tighter if that's what you're looking for. You'd have to use a lot more to keep it really posted down. Otherwise, you're going to start getting into wax properties. So we started the show off, we're talking about some companies mislabel. So what you want to look at is inside of the balm, there is some wax properties to it. So using the wax is what allows to give the style. The wax obviously has a lot more, but there is some of that beeswax in there that allows for it to give it a little bit of that tackiness and hold. Where butters do not have any of that. If it has any type of beeswax or anything of that property, it is a balm. For whatever reason, no clue why this happens, companies will label their butters as balm. I don't know if it sounds cooler to say that you use a balm, but that is the big distinguishing here at Whiskermen. Our butters are designed to soften and condition. It is an enhancement to the oil. It has the oil properties in it, but also adds that extra softening condition. The balms are there for a little bit of styling, lay it down. If you use too much, you will feel your beard is kind of a little bit stiff and feels a little bit heavier. That's why I just take a little bit, rub it in, just enough to kind of keep some of those flyaways down. So again, you do what you do more or less based off of your beard game. One thing to keep in mind, as you're combing it in, you are moving it around. There is a chance that since it does have a little bit of that sticky properties, that it can get stuck to the comb and you're losing some of that. So a lot of times I'll put it in and just kind of then do with just my hands to get it that last little bit of shape. So again, you work on what works best for you. So that is it, short and sweet today with the balm. I want to allow lots of time for our next guest. This gentleman was one of the leaders of the pod. He was a judge on season 11 of my season of the block and took the time to be on here. So without further ado, I want to turn this over to my interview with Mr. Jordan Bell. Hey guys, welcome to this special edition of Business of the Beards in Business. You probably guessed it, a blocks, but we've got a special blocker today. Jordan was part of season 11 when we were out filming. Can't say any more than that because the red bearded guy Wes will punch us both in the throat if we drop anything. But had the honor and privilege to be in Jordan's pod. Got coached. Had some amazing notes that are sitting right here next to me. Got to be able to get mentored and then staying in touch, which is really amazing. Of when you guys see this show, you're going to think that these judges, they're on this pedestal and they're not real people. Jordan's here with me to prove that wrong.
I don't know. Sometimes we're not real people. I'm just AI generated. That's all.
Absolutely. So Jordan, thank you so much for your time. I will turn it over to introduce yourself and your business.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Jordan Daniel Bell. I'm the founder and CEO of Agency Bell at agencybell.com. I've had my digital marketing agency for about 7 years. Before that, I ran a couple of other marketing agencies in the sports and legal spaces. And I found my way really into enjoying the art and science of advertising, data, automation, now a little bit more on the AI side. And in addition to that, I like to do a little bit of management and executive coaching. And I like to work on technology products, and I'm in the space of, we're building a premium educational brand called Academy Bell. And we're test launching some new products with that right now, actually with some of the blocks contestants and business owners. So pretty excited to do that, and I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, it's putting that course out is one of those things that I think is just so amazing about the blocks community of wanting to get some feedback and stuff. It's such a great community of people who are like, yeah, I'll do it. This may not be my forte, but I'll come in and give you the best feedback. So
Yeah.
for our viewers that may not understand, what exactly is it that digital marketing? Because I think some people have a preconceived notion and they're probably not 100% correct. So can you give us a little bit details exactly what that is?
Yeah, definitely. So on the customer acquisition side of the business, we're talking about how you get new customers online instead of just in person. So you've got general marketing, which is the promotion, the general promotion of your brand or service to acquire new customers and get new sales revenue, as well as your existing customers, to retain them and get more value, get more revenue, generate that repeat buying relationship there. On the digital side, it's everything that is internet based. So you might recognize like SEO or Google search ads or Facebook ads. There's also email marketing and content marketing. But I focus specifically in the areas, mostly in the areas of advertising, and that would be online advertising, such as when you go to Google, when you go to Bing or Facebook, TikTok, any of those areas. There's an art and a science that goes into that process. And that became my obsession as I got further into digital marketing. My journey was more from a corporate marketing manager, marketing director, moved out into doing teaching and consulting. Built my own agency after helping run a couple other agencies as a junior partner level, and so where that brought me as a founder is in the space of taking a brand's budget. They have a certain growth goals and new customer acquisition goals, and we need to generate a return on that on their investment by placing their ads properly, targeting the right audiences, having a seamless process of reaching the right people with the right message, the right times, taking them through those users through an online site or funnel and converting them at the highest percentage and at the highest transaction values or at the highest deal values if it's a professional service, so that we could generate a return on investment for the business owner. And the better we do at that, the longer we keep our customers. Our traditional space over the last 3 or 4 years was in the legal industry. So law firms looking to generate new plaintiffs for lawsuits against insurance companies, product companies, anywhere where there were damages or people were wronged. And this would be like financial injury, sicknesses, things like that. Also areas like employment law when employers are abusive or don't take care of their employees properly, and wrongful termination, things like that. And the reason I went into that space is because it's actually one of the hardest areas in all of advertising to do. And we wanted to build a product and service that connected marketing and sales information together in a professional services space, where ads weren't, you'd usually see like your ad spend or your marketing spend, and then you'd see customers on the other end, but most companies wouldn't have an understanding of how to connect the dots between them. So we solved a lot of problems like that, and in the legal space was a hard area to do it in, but it's made a lot of other business types that we've worked with a lot less difficult. And so now some of the businesses that we work on are going to be like software as a service, other professional services, some e-commerce, and just a lot of like new age types of business models, coaching spaces, all that stuff. So love the industry. I think a really special thing about it is you either perform and the brand will see it up front, or you get fired. And so I've always loved that pressure. We do good work. We get great ROI. We're very technologically forward. There's a lot of automation, a lot of data, a lot of AI stuff now. It's a lot of fun. I love it.
Now, so before you kind of unveiled your origin story a little bit. I want to dive into that just a little bit deeper. Before we get into that, so basically, I'm trying to break this down in a simple so my brain can understand this. You are the digital version of a Super Bowl ad. Is that pretty accurate to say that you're collecting all the data of I've got this small spot and I got to hit the customer, and you're doing it on you're basically a high wire act, because if you're not able to show that customer the ROI and the fact that you're putting this, you're ranking on Google, and you're here and you're getting this many clients, they can be like, "What are you doing for me?" And they fire. So is that in essence? I'm trying to break it down Barney style.
Yeah, you did a great job there. So think about it like if we were looking at a Super Bowl ad, the concept would be something like you are a target customer who has a propensity to, we'll go with like, I don't know, what's a brand? You can throw me on the spot. What's a brand that you'd imagine seeing in the Super Bowl that you'd want to, not an alcohol brand, is that complicates the scenario a little bit, but a non-alcohol brand that you'd see in the Super Bowl commercial, and I'll tell you the digital version of that.
So we'll go with avocados, since
Avocados, love it. Ooh, good, tough one too. All right, so avocados, and we'll go with like California avocados, like type of brand, where their business goal, right, might be to increase the overall, do a wide awareness campaign. They want to increase the overall spend on avocados, which happens at the grocery level, but that's trickled down from the I guess the wholesale or the farming level, and the wholesale value chain, where they're collectively going in to advertise together, kind of as a collective there. That's probably a common scenario. I don't know if that's exactly the case, but things like that happen a lot. So
makes sense.
let's say, California Avocados as an organization has a budget, and they're advertising the Super Bowl, and they want people all over the country to buy more avocados. So it's an expensive Super Bowl commercial, right? Expensive to produce it typically, and definitely expensive to air it. I don't know if it's still $500,000, but it's somewhere up there, or probably more now. So think of the digital version of this. There, you've got a person who has a. So I'm a person, or you as are a person who has a certain propensity to either be open to buying avocados or already buys avocados and could buy more if you were influenced and reminded to, and you were inspired to go and buy more avocados. You are somewhere along. We are somewhere along the purchasing journey, the consumer journey of this. And so when we have advertising that presents a message to us, our goal with digital is to find the people, is to place ads in strategic ways so that instead of everyone who possibly watches the Super Bowl, imagine we're thinking like, if we're watching the Super Bowl online or something, instead of every single person, the ad is going to show to the people who have the highest propensity to purchase avocados as determined by similar consumer behavior that we know about. Like people who buy avocados might also be in certain markets more likely to eat more salads, or might be more likely to have a type of like keto-based or health food type of diet, or simply like it's an area where people eat avocados on their burgers more, right? And so there's several different ways to reach people based on consumer behavior that we have in the whole market research industry. I won't go into all that stuff, but because of that, we use those tools to decide who are the most likely audiences out of the entire United States or these markets, who is most likely to buy avocados. And now that we have identified these individuals, how do we get them to buy more, right? And at the awareness stage, this might be more about promoting the health benefits or the local nature of how avocados are made, or the appeal of it. There's all sorts of different messages there. This may not be like a direct response, like go buy it at the store, you get this percentage off or whatever. That's more for like the local retail store advertising. What we're getting the story of the avocados. We're getting and what this brand means, and consumers are taught to. It's kind of like the milk industry, right? The Got Milk was part of that whole milk collective, where the brand of like, or the message of Got Milk, it became this like big hit, big famous message that lasted for, I guess decades, I think. And because of that, people developed a relationship with milk. It was memorable. And because of that whole creative campaign was effective and memorable, people's behavior started to change. And so in the context of digital ads, now it doesn't play out into digital ads quite as easily, but in the context of digital ads, if we were to place those ads, or certain ads that were different, that were more appropriate to each like market that we were showing it to, then we would measure the lift in spend on avocados in certain markets and connect that to like the amount of spend in those for those different user types. And so there's different ways to connect consumer behavior. That one doesn't pass digitally so much because you're not like clicking things online necessarily to buy avocados, but that's kind of how it works at the awareness stage.
Yeah, and to the audience, that was not pre-planned. Jordan literally just went.
I was working my way through it. I don't usually do those ones, but nice.
That was really good. So one thing that I really want to get into is, how did you, of all the things, I met you and just hearing what you talked through that scenario, you're obviously could have done almost anything in the world and been amazing at it. Why did you pick this of all things to go into?
So when I got out of undergrad, I came out to California to work in the music industry, and I did for a little while. I got a job at a music publishing company, Alfred Music. Great. Any of the folks out there who played in band or orchestra, or like learned how to play guitar from a book at Guitar Center or something. They did a lot of that sheet music and those books and whatnot. And so when I worked in that industry, what I realized is I'm a musician. I'm a guitar, drums, vocals, and I love music, but I decided I didn't really need to work in music. It's a hard industry to kind of like go through and get too far, and it takes a while. There's a lot of doesn't move as quickly as other industries, and I like to move quickly. And on all career related things. And I realized that when I got a marketing job basically with him, a starter marketing job, it was like 15 years ago or something. And I realized that I just really enjoyed marketing. I liked the ability to craft messages and understand people, consumer behavior and consumer psychology, how the power of like positive and ethical influence. And I also really liked the data. I was a math kid growing up, so like having like the creative and the logical and the math-based stuff was a fun combination of it. What was interesting to me though is that when I worked my way into like a PR manager position, and I realized that there's a lot of marketing out there that is that puts out these numbers and data and statistics, what we call like marketing metrics and or marketing analytics. And I noticed that a lot of marketing analytics are kind of BS. Um, I was reporting on things like impressions and number of like potential views. And while impressions in general is not necessarily a bad metric, the way that so many marketers, regular and digital marketers use data, I think is relatively flawed, and we put meaning to data that often doesn't translate to business owners into real dollars and cents. And so I really began to think about how I really enjoyed putting together these reports, but I didn't believe in some of them when I was working on that. And it wasn't anything that anyone did that was wrong. It was just like what we knew in the industry at the time, doing some PR stuff. And we were trying to see like how songbooks were connected to, like if we got a lot of coverage on something, would it translate into a lot of like, book sales or other things? And it was a really hard journey to figure that out. So I began to pursue other areas in digital marketing, where there are other metrics like the email open rates and the click-through rates on email campaigns, which ideally would turn into website clicks and website purchases. And so I began to study those patterns and funnels, so I could see when a customer gets to each stage, what's the drop-off rate? What's the likelihood that a person from a particular marketing source and a particular campaign, or a creative or an ad or a graphic or something or some offer, what's the percent chance that they will convert, that they will become a customer when they get to the other side and they click all the way through? Because on the journey, they're influenced by things. This led me down the path of understanding that great marketing involves a multi-stage process where you've got to reach the right person with the right message at the right time, when you are facilitating what you want, when you say, hey, go like do this, take this action, and if that person wants to take that action, you're facilitating it effectively as well, because how well you facilitate that is what we call the conversion rate. And the conversion rate, if the difference between a 2% and a 4% is literally twice the revenue. And so these small little details became critically important. And as a math guy, like I remember, like I was an algebra whiz when I was a kid, and that's like the simpler math that creates the dollars and cents. So I had found my place as a marketer. I had found my ability to get this authentic impact, and was able to connect, whenever we're able to connect the activity and the best marketing practice to actual sales, to actual new clients, that became the only way for us to do it. So in all these industries we went into, when there was a problem seeing the marketing activity and seeing it through to real business KPIs, we pursued it. That was my obsession, and we did it in some of the hardest spaces, and we're doing it now today in a number of different industries.
If you get a call from avocados.
I would have fun. I'm sure I could bring something of value, although I'm sure that they could find an avocado or a produce experienced CMO or something, but I'd take the call at least.
I'm sure they're out there. So how can people find you? They're interested in, they're like, man, obviously Jordan has blown my mind. He's walked through some great details. How can people utilize your services and get in contact with you?
Yeah, definitely. You can find me on LinkedIn, Jordan Daniel Bell. I've got a couple other websites coming up soon, but the best way to reach me still is going to be at agencybell.com.
Right. And then we'll put that up at the end of this podcast. So you've answered all the questions that I have, Jordan. So I want to give you the opportunity. The floor is yours. Anything that we missed or anything that you want to speak on at this time, it is.
No, I mean, I want to ask you, what's the coolest thing that happened with your business this year, if I can ask that.
So coolest or most proud of, I guess they're kind of
Either, both?
So publishing my book was probably one of the hardest journeys of looking at, similar to what you were speaking of, looking at the data. There is no book written on beard care that's tailored towards supplies. And that's kind of why I wrote mine with lots of pictures, because again, attention span is, less than a goldfish at this point.
Yep.
And the one thing that I'm really proud of it is the cover, which was a fellow Bloxer helped me with it. Half of one side of the book is my face and the other half is my son's face. And most people don't even realize that until you point it out. So that is really cool. And just the knowledge, going on the season and getting such feedback and personal. I know that there's other business schooling type things that kind of does like the Beta Blocks does. But the way Wes has the curriculum set out, and then to complement that with you guys as coaches and mentors, I think takes it to a whole nother level to where you're not just saying that well, this is going to work for everyone. And you guys took the time and sat and said, okay, from a business perspective, how can we tackle this problem and make it profitable? So taking all the feedback and, like I said, the book's right here. It's whenever I'm at the desk, it's always with an arm's reach to have that. And then not only have I've been through other business courses. The folks that teach it are on a platform and then that's it. They're gone. They may have been AI generated for all I know. I know you have a super busy schedule and you say, you know what? I'm going to take the time. I'm going to come on the podcast because I know it's going to help John. That's
Absolutely
has been the most beneficial of all those connections.
Yeah, that's great. And I'm so happy to hear it. Congratulations on doing the book. I've started projects like these. I haven't finished one yet. It's a big effort. So I just kind of getting that out there, and the cover sounds cool. I'll definitely want to get a copy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I appreciate your time, and those of you that are watching, if you made it to this point, that means you made it through almost the entire podcast. So we thank you so much. Jordan, privilege and honor to have you on. I thank you so much. Guys, thank you for watching. We appreciate it. All right, guys, what an amazing interview with Jordan. Thank you so much for taking your time to be on this show, Jordan. Really appreciate it. So big shout out to Jordan. Show some love, guys. Comment, like, share, subscribe, do all those things. That helps us out, and it also shows our guests that it was worth their time, that you were here and you watched the video and learned a little something. So, as always, folks, big shout out to our first responders that are out there, our military, and then our veteran community. If you can't support those folks, you can't get behind them, feel free to get in front of them. We'll see you on the next episode.